Hello, welcome to Video Mania 2. I'm the man behind the counter, Duncan, and today we're going to talk about a new 4K from the MVD Rewind collection. This is from their 4K Laser Vision collection. It is Knockoff, starring Claude Van Damme, Rob Schneider, Layla Rashawn, and Paul Sorvino. It's directed by Choi Hark. This movie has Hollywood actors in it, but it has the feel of a Hong Kong movie, like the older Jackie Chan movies, and the plot is absolutely bonkers. So this was a departure for Jean-Claude Van Damme. He was at the tail end of his theatrical run with this movie. He worked with Choi Hark previously on Double Team the year before, and then this movie came out, and then his last theatrical movie for many years was Universal Soldier: The Return. So, like I said, this was towards the end. And this movie, when I first saw it, I wasn't that crazy about it because it was such a departure from his previous movies. It's kind of an action comedy and has the Hong Kong sensibilities, like I said. So it's very different. It wasn't what I expected. And I've grown to appreciate it more over the years. But honestly, it's not my favorite Van Damme movie. It's not my go-to when I'm in the mood for a Van Damme movie. But it still is enjoyable. Now, the plot here is pretty out there. It was written by Stephen E. D'Souza, who directed Van Damme in the Street Fighter movie. And some of his craziness can be sensed here too, and mixed with the Hong Kong stuff, so it's pretty nuts. But the plot is Jean-Claude Van Damme plays Marcus Ray, and you get a little bit of backstory to his character. It's a little bit different for him. He's basically a street hustler in Hong Kong, and Hong Kong is notorious for making knockoff products of designer stuff, and he participated in that world. But he wants to go legit with this company V6 Jeans, so he partners with Tommy Hendricks, Rob Schneider's character, and they want to have a line of jeans. He wants to be legit. And things start to go awry when these knockoff products, these nano bombs are put into different products, like especially the knockoff ones. Like there's these products called Apple Babies. There are these dolls. There's some of these devices in those, and it turns out it's in the V6 jeans line as well, and they're in all kinds of products. So the CIA is interested because this could be very bad for the world if these very explosive devices get mixed into circulation all over the world, and they're detonated by a transmitter, a microwave transmitter. And Marcus Ray, the movie starts out, he teams up with Tommy for a rickshaw race, and he goes against his cousin Eddie and some other people. And this sequence is absolutely nuts. But it does get to showcase some of Van Damme's athletic ability that you hadn't seen before. So that part was cool. But then Van Damme's kind of family member, kind of adopted family, Eddie Wang, is kidnapped during the rickshaw race. They think he is, but Eddie was cheating, so his double in the rickshaw race was kidnapped and murdered. So Eddie goes into hiding because something's more sinister going on. And Marcus Ray then gets confronted by the executive vice president of V6 Jeans, Karen, played by Layla Rashawn, and she's interrogating Tommy and Marcus like, your jeans are getting knocked off, you guys are irresponsible, what's going on here? And they're not the sharpest businessmen, and so they don't ever ask like, how's she bossing them around or anything like that. This is a crazy movie, like I said. So she's trying to get to the bottom of it, and they raid a factory to find out. And then Marcus Ray finds out Tommy Hendricks is actually undercover with the CIA, and he gets very upset. He thought Tommy Hendricks was his friend and business partner. And Marcus Ray begins to accept because Hendricks tells him, like, look, no one would work with you. You're the king of knockoffs. And we had to infiltrate the knockoff world to find these nano bombs. So the CIA is interested in those. So they have to go on a search to find out who's running this. And there's double crosses and triple crosses and all kinds of crazy stuff ensue. And it eventually leads to a pretty cool climactic battle on a container ship with the police and Marcus Ray and Hendricks, so we know he's part of the CIA now. And they work for Paul Sorvino's character, Johansson. And Karen is also not who she completely appears to be. That's explained somewhat. But it ends in the container ship, like I said, and you get to see a really cool sequence here, and the Hong Kong style really shines again. And so Van Damme gets to show off some of his athleticism that you really hadn't seen before in this movie. So that was cool. And they have to work together to solve this mystery of and stop these nanobombs, because that's a world security problem. And it all takes place, that's another added part of the plot, is it takes place in June of 97, when Hong Kong was being officially turned over to the Chinese control from the British. And so all the dignitaries from both sides are there, so it's highly secure, so they're really up against it here. So that all works pretty well, but it's just so out there, and it's very 90s. And the movie, unfortunately, didn't do much at the box office because Van Damme, like the hardcore Van Damme fans like myself, it was so different. And then the Hong Kong people didn't necessarily take to it because that was still kind of growing, and it wasn't until another month after this movie that Rush Hour came out that, you know, the Hong Kong style incorporated into an action comedy really took off. So there's so many things here that happen. It just, people weren't expecting it, but I think a lot of people have come to appreciate it over the years. But so it does have its fun and its twists and turns, and to appreciate for what it is. But you learn of some of the special features that it was kind of difficult. You know, it was very different style making because things weren't necessarily improvised, but it was a very fast and loose style of filmmaking. Like, they would have the script, and then they would do an action sequence in the Hong Kong style, because there was a lot of Hong Kong crew and stunt crew. They pretty much just set up and just start going, and it was pretty crazy. But everything you see on screen, there wasn't a lot of CGI except for the nanobombs through this green fire, so you do get to see that. But there was just so many different things here that it came out for a pretty wild movie, and it's definitely one of those kind of fell under the radar, unfortunately, 90s action comedy movies. But Rob Schneider and Jean-Claude Van Damme surprisingly work well together. They're a pretty decent comedy team, and Layla Rashawn's great, and Paul Sorvino's great as well. So, and Choi Hark's action direction, you know, he was a Hong Kong legend, it can be felt throughout this movie. So now let's talk about the artwork a little bit, and then the audio and picture quality. Here's the artwork here. It's like the standard cover, and it had reversible artwork. This is kind of the old cover here. And it comes with a poster that's folded up inside here. And the special features, this movie was issued on DVD from MVD Rewind a while back, and I think it has some special features, but there are some new ones as well. So on the 4K disc, you have archival audio commentary by action cinema experts Mike Leader and Arnie Venema, and the mini poster like I talked about. And on the Blu-ray, it's a 2-disc set, you have the things I just mentioned. Then a new interview with writer Stephen E. D'Souza, who talks about his career, and he eventually gets to knock off, and he talks about the Hong Kong style of filmmaking and how things were made. It was a little different than what he was normally accustomed to, but it was a pleasurable experience nonetheless. And a new interview with producer Moshe Diamant. He talks about working with Van Damme over the years and experience in Knockoff. They're both pretty interesting interviews. And there's some archival things from 2020 with writer Stephen E. D'Souza, and an archival from 1998, a making of in standard definition that's 23 minutes, and the original theatrical trailer. So all in all, a pretty solid set here. Now, the picture quality isn't bad, but I think I've been spoiled lately by a lot of newer 4Ks or some of these ultimate restorations. This one, I guess this is the way it was shot and the way it was made, it doesn't pop as much, but it still looks very good. It's just not amazing like some of the other things I've seen recently. But by no means is it bad. It's not wonky or anything. It's very even and a very natural look. So I would still recommend it for that purpose. And it's definitely an upgrade from my previous copy, this VHS here. So you definitely get a step up in that. Like some of the shirts that Rob Schneider and Van Damme wear pop a little bit more. So it definitely does look up. And there's 2 audio tracks, the 5.1 DTS and the 2.0 mono, I believe. Let's see. Yes. No, yeah, it's 2.0 stereo, excuse me. But there's both of those. And the audio here, it's not as punchy as I was expecting. It's not bad, but it's not like a Dolby Atmos either. I have a Vizio soundbar, and so my setup's kind of different than some people's, because some people have said certain movies were disappointing and I was blown away by them. So everybody's setup's a little different. This one might work real well for you depending on your setup. But this one wasn't quite as punchy, but certainly not disappointing or bad. Everything's crisp and clear. It's just I had to adjust the volume a little bit different than what I usually watch my movies on, but it's fine. So overall, MVD, who I really like this line, they do a very solid job with this. So if you're a hardcore Van Damme fan, give it a buy. It's definitely worth it. Or if you're looking for something, you're into this 90s action kick or these action comedies that are way out there, this would be a movie to check out because it is really bonkers. So overall, though, a lot of fun, and I think it's one of the more misunderstood of Van Damme's movies. So let me know, have you seen it in the comments? What did you think of it? Did you pick this up? Any of those things? Let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you next time.